Welcome to Beyond the Basement, the complete Attack on Titan podcast. In this show, we're not just rewatching, we're going behind the scenes, deep into the anime story, unearthing intrigue, and exploring new theories about the Attack on Titan universe. The majority of each episode is spoiler-free. Then, after a warning, we'll take a few minutes to connect the dots with storylines from future episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, but don't forget, you can join us for the live broadcast Sunday nights on Facebook and watch every episode on YouTube. Links will be in the show notes. With that, let's get into the conversation. Welcome, come one, come all, to Beyond the Basement, the complete Attack on Titan podcast.
Woo.
Welcome to episode 10, where things get real like they always do in this show, which is why we like this show. I'm Eric Hansen, one of your hosts over here.
Peter.
I'm Rachel. I don't know why I just winked. That was really creepy.
My sweet, sweet co-hosts. All of us, we are. So
sweet.
Episode 10. Episode 10 continues as all episodes before it have, right on the back of episode 9. Or the previous episode. I'm going to do... Yeah, they don't all start off episode 9.
We can't go back and tell you this because if you're listening to this episode, you probably have already watched them, but these last two episodes are best watched back to back because we watched the last episode a week ago and then we just watched this one and we lost like half of the drama. We're like, oh yeah, things are getting really intense right now.
Yeah, we went to turn the TV on and I literally said, okay, guys, I know it's been a long week. What the heck happened last time? Like, I actually didn't know. So the recap was helpful.
Thankfully, there's lots of screaming, so you get the idea that there's drama, like, pretty fast.
And the music is really good.
Yeah, dude, the scoring, the music. The first season is the best musically. It's still good. It's still great even throughout the rest of them. But for some reason, this season,
At least the theme song is the best.
For sure, the theme song.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, let's do a quick recap. So episode 10... starts off with, what's his crap? It's a Captain Wormer.
I like to call him Captain Scaredy Pants myself.
We'll call him Captain Worm because he's kind of a wormy guy. Anyway, so it picks up right with Captain Wormy Guy raising his hand, dropping his hand to have the cannons fire on Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. God only knows why. He's a nervous wreck, apparently. He's a bad dude. Anyway, so he drops his hand, cannons shoot, Eren transforms into a Titan real quick, and so that's where this episode actually picks up, is basically right at that moment. And so we kind of get another little cut over to Jean and Reiner and the whole gang or whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And so it's Annie, Reiner, Jean, is it Bertholdt as well? I think they all jump over. They like hop on over to go see what the heck's going on. And so most of this episode is taking place, is a dialogue between Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, who are now kind of in the smoke of this half-formed abnormal Titan that Eren has just transformed into. And he's just protected them from the cannon shots.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Just one shot, really.
And Eren reveals a bunch of interesting stuff to Armin and Mikasa, the stuff he realized in the last episode. He tells them about the key. He tells them about the basement or the cellar, as they keep calling it the cellar in this particular subbed version on Netflix. But anyway, he tells them about that, and he starts to question. He's like, why didn't my dad tell me this stuff before? And then they're like, okay, we don't have time for this. And so as the smoke starts to clear, Eren says, I've got two plans in order to, for our next steps, because we just survived cannon fire. He's like, we can either plan one, run, and I don't want you guys to follow me because I've, caused you enough trouble. And Mikasa's like, no, I'm going to follow you. And Armin's like, I'd slow you down. I don't know what to do. And then he says my second plan is, Armin, you need to go out there through the smoke and convince them that I will be loyal to humanity and loyal to the military, and I will be of great use to them. And I will be under military direction. And if you can do that, then perhaps we can live. And so Armin has an incredibly heroic moment. He goes out there, gives his speech over and over again, even as they're about to drop, he's about to drop his hand and they're going to freaking kill all of them. Armin's like, nope, I'm a loyal soldier. Like, I know this is what's best for humanity. If I die, exactly, freaking salute. He's like, I know if I die for humanity's sake here, that it will be a noble cause. And so, right as, what'd you call him? Captain Scary Pants?
Yeah.
Captain Worm, Scary Pants Worm. Risey goes to drop the hammer again because he's like, I won't be deceived by this. Risey goes to do that. We get one of the baddest, the best, the coolest characters in this show, which we don't see enough of. Honestly, you see some of them,
true.
But I could always use a little more Commander Pyxis. We could use a Commander Pyxis in reality right now, don't you think? A calm voice who could just come in and be like, I think I know exactly what to do.
he just take a swig from his little, pocket
his
canteen
weird flask,
and be like,
yeah.
listen,
His
everybody,
flask,
COVID's not that big of a deal. I'll
with
figure
his
it
totally
out.
calm eyes and his twisted sense of humor.
So he shows up, saves the day, takes the trio up to the top of the wall, and is like, all right. They spill the beans, like, hey, this is kind of what happened. This is what we know right now. And he's like, all right. So can you plug Eren, can you do it? Can you plug the hole in the wall? And he's like, I don't know if I can. He's like, are you willing? And he's like, yeah, I'm freaking willing. So that's this episode in a nutshell. This episode is very much a connecting piece. Now, I would never say every episode has juicy details in it. This one has some great spoilers in it, by the way, when we get to that part. This episode acts as a connecting piece. And like Pete said, best watched when you watch the last episode and this one together, because they really, they're like a part 1 and part 2. Okay, so thoughts on, let's start from the beginning. I don't think we really need to recap the first thing that actually happens is are you human or are you Titan? Blah,
The
blah.
fresh cadets are like freaking out.
Yeah, I
processing their horror.
I think where we start off really as far as the conversation go is Marco and this we don't
some random
guy who's losing his crap.
Yeah,
the dude looks like he's in his 40s.
Yeah, he does.
At least he's really panicked, and the artists have drawn him like that
to make him look old.
But it's pretty awkward, at least for me, when older people don't act mature.
Yeah,
and like aren't like you have to lead them, you have to tell them, and it's just kind of funny right now with the whole quarantine thing going on. Like you have to tell your parents, like, hey, don't be going out.
Don't go out. Wash your hands.
I don't think. Where you think you're going, mister? You go right back to your house. I'll go shopping for you. Dang it,
Mm-hmm.
I love you. This is what I have to do. I have to lay my life down. You're out here trying to party with your friends. So anyway, it's always awkward when you have to try to be the adult when there's an adult who's older or wiser. You're supposed to normally in our society, kind of give way to them.
Defer to them, yeah.
Defer to them. So it's kind of awkward. Like there's this dude who's seen his friends be killed and he's freaking out and he's trying to confide in the young Marco, the 15-year-old Marco, who, let's be honest,
with his freckles and his cute little
Marco
baby
too,
face,
because he's a bro. But
yeah,
it's pretty awkward because he looks old and panic stricken, and we know that PTSD, stress, trauma, all that stuff doesn't know any age. So we see Marco like, oh my gosh, trying to comfort this guy. Looks over, he sees Sasha, and he's like, look at Sasha. She's being a good soldier. She's stoically standing. And the whole time Sasha's freaked out of her gourd, right? So she's sitting there against the wall and she's just like...
and then she starts screaming and she's like, I have horrible abdominal pain. Consider me Titan food or something like that.
Which is hilarious because I'm pretty sure what she's actually trying to say is I'm hungry because she's...
she's probably hungry.
And honestly, Sasha, her stomach is so important that if she's hungry, she might as well just be worthless,
I feel like she says that.
Yeah, but...
multiple times.
One of the things this old guy says I think is important is he's kind of like, it's very similar to the first episode where the commander guy has this kind of mini breakdown and he says, no, your son wasn't valuable. All of us are just giving our lives for nothing, And it's like that trauma almost cuts away to like the darkest reality we imagine, not necessarily truth. And so he says, essentially he says, our job is basically to be Titan fodder. Our job is to be devoured by the Titans. That's our job as a soldier. And he's not wrong in one sense. It's their job to lay their lives down and protect their, the people inside the walls, which that's why you sign up to become a soldier. But then also he's not 100% true. Like no one's just saying, hey, go kill yourself for no reason. No, we're trying to protect people. We're trying to evacuate the people. We're trying to scout out, get more information, which could save more lives. Everyone's life is valuable, is worth something. And especially in this series, we really see that portrayed, even though it may seem like the actions tell a different story. And so he's trying to come to this dark reality that all of his fears have been realized, that I'm just another Titan meal waiting for another moment. And here's Marco trying to talk some sense to him, like, no, we're worth more than that. And kind of all while that's going on, that's when the lightning strike happens.
Yeah.
And we knew that this simultaneously was happening in the last episode, which is Eren protecting everybody from the cannonball by quickly shifting into a Titan. We see the outside perspective. So we see Marco, we see John, we see Reiner, Bertolt, Annie. They all kind of hear that sound. They all get freaked out. Everyone's like, what was that sound? Why would they shoot a single cannon? Because if there's a Titan, they wouldn't have shot a single cannon.
They would have shot a bunch of cannons,
everything, and screamed, and there'd be people, zipping around. And so they can't figure out what's going on. They say, is that Titan vapor?
Yeah. One of them says that.
And so, about a handful of them, John and Reiner and Annie and Bertolt all are like, what in the world? And so they have to see what's going on. So they zip up over the walls, which I can only imagine. If you had Spider-Man pants on where you could just zip up anywhere you wanted anytime.
Spider-Man pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it. They just, from their
They have
belt,
Spider-Man
they
pants.
just shoot grappling hooks, Batman it, and they just zip up.
I love how they have permission to do property damage at any point.
Anytime.
Just into the buildings.
I mean, it's an emergency, so I
and
understand. But we've talked about this a lot as professional roofers.
Yeah, we're in construction. And we see
these guys are putting holes in roofs all over the place. They're damaging these things. I'm like, we're gonna have to go back and clean that crap up. And fix those leaks because these guys don't have any courtesy.
They're putting giant holes in roofs,
and they don't have to just shoot it into the siding. It's way easier to patch less likely to leak.
Sometimes they do.
And I think, look, okay, so you killed the Titans, but if all of our houses are leaky, have we really even saved the world at all?
Can we really live?
Can we? Yeah, is it?
If there's water coming in?
Have we not just
Okay,
compromised?
let's get back on track.
Okay, so they all just do property damage, immediately zip up on top of the wall, which is way better than walking for idiots, And they look and they see.
It's like the segue of the Attack on Titan universe is the ODM gear.
Yeah.
And forget walking.
Apple is going to sell IODM pretty soon here. And they get up on top of the walls and they kind of are like, what's going on? What the heck? And sure enough, they see this half-formed, single-eyed Eren powered Titan. And we kind of see something we haven't seen before. Eren kind of gains consciousness, gains control while he's in there. And he has to rip the flesh from the Titan off of him.
He
and,
opens
pull
his eyes
himself
and
out.
Yeah,
the Titan's head moves.
This is really the second time he's had any kind of Titan form thing happen that we've seen. And he has to pull himself. He has to yank himself out of it this time. The first time, Mikasa had to go down there, and they kind of see him coming. He
blossomed out of it like a flower.
Yeah, he's unconscious. He doesn't even know what he just did.
Popped out of the snow like daisies.
Like daisies. Yes. So Eren has to pull himself out. Something I want to note here is the green flash doesn't always happen, but it does. There's when the Titan transforming thing happens, which we've seen several times, or so we assume. We've seen it a few times. The theme is this green thing. Now, I'm not suggesting Mikasa is a Titan, and this is not a spoiler. This is a theory that I can share with both first timers and the vets. But there's a green when Mikasa has her moment where she's fight. She has the knife and stuff like that.
Yeah, she has green lightning,
and she she doesn't have the lightning per se, but the green.
It shows electricity.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's necessarily specific to Titans transforming or specific to intense moments, but
I've noticed
just something to note.
The lightning that we've seen with at least the bigger Titans, it seems to be orange to me. I thought.
Yeah.
Orange.
Anyway,
it seems like it's hard to tell because in a lot of animes you'll watch,
more than one color.
There's usually over the top, ridiculous graphics that are drawn. Nobody really has love eyes. But in Attack on Titan, they're like, "Whoa, he's got love eyes!" And well, you can't expect us to realize the difference between a serious effect that you're trying to show that this is something, or just anime drawings that are cool.
Yeah.
Until it's revealed, and it's okay, well, how are we supposed to know that anyways?
Yeah. But in this show, there's a lot of clues in the artwork. There's a lot of visual cues and visual clues and stuff like that because they all all the dialogue, of course, but what you see all very much plays into the story. So anyway, random thought. I thought I'd interject there. Anyway, so Eren transforms. Eren protects them. Sorry, I'm trying to get back on track with the story here. So the few scouts, Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, Jean, have all jumped. Now they're on the scene, so they're watching this take place as well. And they certainly are seen freaked out. And anyway, so as they jump in there, that's when the smoke starts to clear for the first time, and we get this kind of glimpse inside. We see Armin's shocked face and Mikasa, who's cool and calm, always apparently.
She's in complete control of herself at all times.
We see Eren kind of pulling himself out of the back of the neck of his Titan, which is hilarious because that little one eye movement thing kind of cracks me up. But anyway, so he's pulling himself out of the back of it, and Mikasa's like, "Armin, chill. Eren just protected us."
Yeah.
You need to remember that.
She knows instinctively. She's picking up on this because she's so connected with Eren and so kind of in tune and has been there for everything so far. Mikasa has this intense sixth sense. She has this weird safety and this her attachment to Eren is an interesting plot device. Yeah. But I feel I don't actually see that kind of they never tell you it's romantic. I mean, there's always that like vibe, but the kind of connection they have, it's almost like a spiritual one, is not something that I feel like gets written into stories very often.
Yeah,
not really. Anyway, another interesting side note. So the other thing that happens is, again, speaking of visual cues, visual clues, there's Armin points out, oh, there's flowers that are growing just inside, which is an interesting thing to know because this like explosion just happened. A cannon shot just got deflected, and Eren just half transformed into a Titan with like lightning. All this happens in like an instant, and somehow the ground is not damaged, such that like there's flowers growing out of the ground. Just an interesting little.
There's like delicate purple flowers.
I think it's
just
a
wafting in the
portrayal.
breeze.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a portrayal of kind of
protecting.
The protection,
yeah,
but also that it's a portrayal. I think that Armin sees that there's something that could be good that could come out of this crazy destructive power.
I wonder if there's secret meaning in that, like with the pomegranate that we don't, that's lost on us because we're not Japanese.
What are they, daffodils or lavenders or whatever?
They were just like little purple flowers. I don't even know what kind of flower they were.
I thought they were daffodils because they called Armin a daffodil one time. And
daffodils are yellow.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, these ones are purple.
And they have like a horn and they have a completely different blossom shape. These are just like generic purple flowers.
So Eren peels himself out.
Eren peels himself out, and then we get some. You know, he like comes to. This time he does it willingly, and it's like still conscious and kind of like knows what just happened. And he pulls out his key and looks at his key and is like starts to kind of basically let Mikasa and Armin in on what he just realized.
Which is
he
crazy.
Remembers.
How many times in the past has Eren ever said, I have a plan. Here's what we're going to do. Right?
Yeah.
Never. He just goes, ah!
He just acts. And he just does impulsively whatever is in his heart.
This is the first time, and it's right after he has these kind of flashbacks. Mm-hmm. He shifts into a Titan, and it seems like a lot of things become clear for him for the first time. Mm-hmm. Now, remember what his dad said. His dad said, when you're unsure about your Titan power,
their memories will guide you.
Mm-hmm. And so I think this is actually something that's happening where Eren's starting to get some of that memory back from when his dad injected him, and he's starting to see things more clearly from more of like a heightened perspective, bird's eye view, and he's starting to put two and two together here, and he's starting to make a plan, which is crazy because that's not like Eren at all. But this Titan thing has started to change him.
Yeah.
So he hops out. He's got a strategy. He gets down. He tells Mikasa and he tells Armin, "Hey,
my dad gave me this key.
A whole bunch of stuff about the key,
and he told me that the key to everything is in the basement. Well, I need to go back to the basement. This is the most important thing now." So he's got his bing. Eren, has
his missions.
First mission to kill all the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But the very most immediate mission right now is to get to the basement and figure out what is going on, the truth. And while he's doing this, we're kind of talking. He gets really mad with his dad because he says, "My dad knew." He realizes my dad knew the whole time.
Why didn't he tell me? If he had information about, if he has something to say about the Titans and how he got into this situation, if he has more answers, then what the heck, why didn't he tell me? He says, the quote says, he says, "My dad gave me this key. He said I would understand everything if I went back there." And he also says he's responsible for what I've become.
Yeah.
So we know that somehow Grisha, Eren's dad, is responsible for Eren's newfound ability, newfound power to become a Titan. And not just that his dad is in the know. Like his dad has got some secret info or something.
The truth behind the Titans is what Eren says.
Truth behind the Titans. He's got truth, which whatever that means, inside his cellar. Now, is it a workshop? He says he was a doctor. Is it a bunch of chemicals? Is it a giant, is it a cavern? Is it like a kind of a million things that the basement itself could be? We don't actually know what or what size.
Is it a giant Slurpee machine? We just don't know.
You just don't know.
I think it's important to note that it seems like he realizes that for the first time, that he has been changed and that his dad did it. Like, that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, "My dad did this to me." And he says, "I might just find out the truth behind the Titans as well." And he says, he gets mad.
That's when he's like, why did he hide this?
His dad said that the truth about the Titans was there.
Yeah, because if Grisha knew about the Titans, if he knew that someone could become a Titan, and he knew
how to make someone a Titan
because he turned Eren into a Titan. If he knew that, then why wouldn't he tell everybody else? Why wouldn't he find a commander and be like, hey, I know how we can stop these Titans?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something else going on, right? Because Grisha didn't seem like an idiot. Seemed like he knew what was going on. And we knew that he was going into the interior to help do a medical thing on the interior.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What medical thing was he doing on the interior,
yes,
right?
let the conspiracies grow
So
inside of you.
here's where I first started to start.
This is where we all get spun.
Gears start turning in our heads, and we're like, "Oh my goodness!" Right? Why didn't Grisha tell everybody? Why wouldn't Why wouldn't he just tell Eren? Hey, Eren, by the way, I know the truth behind the Titans. I'll tell you all about it right now. No, instead, this crazy thing happens, and he disappears. We haven't seen him, and he says, "And where the hell is he? We haven't. Where has he been for 5 years?"
Mm-hmm.
And no one's seen Grisha for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He feels abandoned and angry, and he starts punching the Titan skeleton and screaming.
He says, man's hope is locked away in that cellar.
Yeah,
where
the hope
is
for
he?
mankind.
Yeah.
Why would he hide it if it could save thousands of lives?
Yep.
That was the other thing.
It wasn't
said.
that he talked about this. He mentioned this as scouts or whatever. He was like, isn't this the kind of information that the scouts were out there
they've
like
been dying for years?
Yeah, the translation is interesting. We think he means the scouts. The translation actually says
Legion
in the
but
Netflix
I think it's
one.
probably Scout Regiment.
I hope so, because I'm like, okay, now we have another theory going on.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But
yeah.
if it's just the scout region, like, yeah, they're sacrificing their lives to find out more about the Titans. Why wouldn't Grisha be like, hey, I know some things. We don't know. All we know is Eren says it very truly. Mankind's hope lies in that basement.
Yeah.
Because first they were just trying to survive, right? But no, nobody wants to survive. People want to thrive. They want to have hope. They want to go outside the walls. They want to be able to not just survive more than, day to day. And we know this in psychology. When people are under extreme trauma, they stop dreaming. They stop hoping for the future. They stop having these like, hey, in 10 years, maybe I can take my son down to what? Nothing. They're just so focused on what's right in front of them. They become this traumatized state. They don't have hope for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's terrible for your psyche. It's terrible for your mental health. And so Eren's like, I want to bring that hope back. And I know where that hope is. That hope is in the basement. We need to get this. It's the most important thing. So I'm going to just go Titan form right now. See you losers later. And I'm going to go run over that wall. I'm going to get to that basement.
Cellar,
I'm going to, unlock the door with this key, and I'm going to find out the truth. And everyone, all of us, the first time we watched was like, yes,
do that. Yes, please. God, right. Do that. Yeah.
Because we have all these questions we want to be answered, right?
Let me just
go
just
get it right now.
Here.
Instant gratification.
It's going to be a minute before you get to the basement. I'm just going to let you know right now.
But we will get a lot of information on the way to the basement.
Yes, it will still be satisfying. I just don't want you to feel like, the next 2 episodes we're going to get back there. It doesn't work like that. So reality rudely interrupts. Eren's having this incredible monologue, and we're like finding all this cool information out. But then Mikasa has to interrupt him and be like, so hey, we have like 30 seconds to decide here.
By the way, Eren, I know you're talking.
We don't have time for this.
We're about to die. So if you could just,
there's other
please
matters.
Get your crap together and focus.
So that's when Eren's like, oh yeah, okay, all right. So here's my plan. He's like, so here's what I'll do. I'm gonna jump over this wall, and I'm gonna freaking use my whatever Titan power. And I'm gonna get to the basement. I'm gonna figure this whole thing out. He says some interesting stuff here. He kind of talks about, he gives you a little detail. He says like, okay, this Titan thing that I just did is not the complete thing.
Yeah.
He says, I'm gonna become a more powerful Titan. I'm gonna become a 15-meter one, like when I was beating the frick out of those other ones.
Yeah.
And so there's some interesting detail there about, okay, wait, so Eren now knows that he can transform. It wasn't just a one-time thing.
And focus.
That he can control it somehow. Mm-hmm. And that there's even various levels. Yeah, because he kind of
explains, I was only trying to catch the cannonball.
Yeah, he actually, in a split second, without even like strategizing or planning, turned himself into a somewhat Titan enough to be able to stop the cannonball and protect his friends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
As he's saying this, though, they notice that he looks pale, his nose is bleeding. They're like,
you're in no shape,
bro.
I
don't know. Like again.
And then Armin says, it seems to be doing something to your body. I don't think you should do it so soon. Or is it Mikasa? It's one of them.
So he makes his little vow here. He's like, I swear I'm going to go out. I'm going to do this. And he says, this is the part where he says, I'll become more powerful. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it on my own. Meaning he says to Armin and Mikasa, he's like, if you just don't act threatening or aggressive, you can at least live. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get this thing done right now, which, when you first watch it, do that. I like that plan.
Yeah. But he also, you don't want him to abandon his friends, but the reason he gives for abandoning his friends is that he's kind of gotten them enough trouble already, right? Because now they're suspected as traitors. They almost got killed by a cannonball because of the fact that Eren is a Titan, but he's also a human, but he's a Titan. So it's like, okay, he's gotten them in enough trouble right now. He's saying, look, just don't act aggressively. I'll run off. I'll take all the heat. I'll be the hero you guys need.
Yeah.
You guys just stay safe and they won't persecute you, right?
So,
but Mikasa.
Of course, Mikasa's not going for that.
Wait,
come on.
You trying to tell me
She's
that I
like,
have to
no,
do without
I'm
Eren
going to keep up with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with you. And if I can't keep up, you can leave me.
yeah, you can let me die, but there's no way. And then Eren fights back with her, which is, again...
They start arguing like an old married couple.
But
it's like, no, I'm not a toddler. Like,
I think this is funny. He says, I'm not some snot-nosed brat, Mikasa. Like, I can take care of myself. And he's not putting two and two together because... all throughout the episodes, right? We know that Mikasa's, motivation is to protect Eren, keep Eren safe,
and she happens to be an incredible soldier.
Yeah.
And Eren's mom told her, keep Eren safe. You have to keep him alive. The most important thing is to stay alive, right? So she's thinking, stay alive, keep Eren alive, right? She just almost lost Eren. You better believe she's not leaving him.
She
ever
thought
again.
he was actually dead.
Yeah, and so. The whole time she's been like, Eren, when things get crazy, come find me. I'll protect you, right? And Eren, as any male, is like, no one needs to protect me, right?
I do what
Especially
I want,
not
Mom.
some woman.
Yeah,
Like,
especially, I mean, he's a teenage boy, right? So he's got this thing going on. But also, he doesn't understand that she's not doing it from a big sisterly, I'll protect you perspective. She really cares about him.
Yeah.
And all he can see is... oh, you think you can just, because you're really good with the ODM, he doesn't put two together like, hey, she really cares about you. And it's a little bit deeper than your just dorky sister, bro.
You are each other's only family.
Yeah.
And that's how
you
Mikasa
are
has seen
her
it.
home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
home. And that's how this has been for me from the beginning. And this is all I've got. Like, the world is upside down now.
But he's pretty typical. He's so focused on his goal. He doesn't think about the emotional ramifications of what he's doing. And so he kind of treats her like garbage, even though really like she's at him and her and Armin are like his only kind of family. That's his core unit. And he just can't put two and two together, which I don't blame him for at the time, but retrospectively watching this, you're like, come on, bro.
Come on, Eren. So,
Get your head out of your you-know-what.
So then we get to Armin.
Armin's a great moment.
And we get to revisit Armin's insecurity that we've kind of been... They spent some time on it, I think episode 7 or whatever it was, where we really get to see Armin like down on himself.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm useless. Like from the point at which he couldn't save Eren and he was being put in a Titan mouth. From that point to this, we keep revisiting Armin and the trauma that he's feeling inside of like, I'm useless. I'm useless and I've been weighing down. I feel like I've only ever been a burden to Eren and Mikasa, and they've always been sticking it for me. They've always rescued me. Like, what more can I do? Like, he's not planning like, yeah, I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna join Mikasa, and this time we're gonna go like he was with the scouts. He's like, if you're gonna join the scouts, I'm gonna join too. This time he's like, he actually has a memory of them being cadets or being trainees and stuff, and he's like, back when he like couldn't pack his gear around, and like he kind of has all these little flashbacks to them as kids, and he does this monologue of like, I have never been able to protect myself. I've always been weak. I'm like useless. I've been a burden to them. They've always come and stuck up for me, and like this time I know I can't repay them. Like there's no way I can actually repay all the favors they've done for me, and this time's not going to be any different. So basically he's deciding.
He realizes how much he owes them, and he also is realizing this might be the last time that they're all together.
There's never
so he'll never have a chance to repay them.
Yeah, I couldn't repay them for all the numerous times they've saved me. Like he just imagines himself as a burden on their friendship, and
he
they're always
wants to
having
repay them, but he
help
can't
him out.
because he's out of time.
Yeah.
So he's having this kind of like.
It's really emotional too. Like it's a pretty.
This one feels real. I think a lot of people feel this way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a burden right now. Like I'm not actually helpful. Like I can't. And so he starts to voice this and basically is like, I can't do much. And this is where Eren's like, okay, I've actually got 2 plans. First plan is, we bail, risk our lives trying to escape. Second plan is, Armin, what I want you to do is I want you to go out there. I need you to go and try and persuade the garrison, the military that's in front of us right now. I need you to go out there and persuade them that I will be under military direction, that I'm actually a weapon for the sake of humanity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Armin is like, wait, before you get to what you were just telling me to do, that's how you see me?
He's like, wait, you're leaving this important decision to me? Why are you leaving this decision to me?
Yeah.
And then he says, because you always keep a level head.
Yeah.
And then he says that
like,
part.
Yeah. When have I ever done that? He's like, you
always do that. And then he starts giving him.
Mm-hmm. And so then we get a cool little bit of information, which we didn't get early on in the show, which is that the reason that Hannes, the garrison, we meet him as a drunk soldier, but he actually ends up saving Eren and Mikasa's life while Eren's mom is getting eaten. So early on, it's like episode 1 or episode 2 it happens. 2,
yeah.
So the reason that Hannes shows up on the scene is because Armin was level-headed enough to go find him and be like, hey, they're in trouble. So Eren reminds Armin of that, and Armin, the line like that's how you see me. That line just like sticks with me because we're all kind of in that situation at some point or another where we can't see ourselves for the strengths and stuff that we have. We can really only see our weaknesses, and it takes other people, it takes other friends to see us for who and for what we are. And us as observers in the show, we know Armin's strengths. Like they've been very clear that he, like even here, he's been planning, while he's kind of coming down on himself, he's also coming up with a plan for escape. He's also coming up with, okay, if they get out, then I can do this. And like he kind of he's doing calculation.
Yeah. And there's other characters that always point out that Armin is a genius and he's a strategic genius. And even Mikasa tells him that. And even like, what is his name? Connie tells him your word is law, and it's people have been telling him this for several episodes, but he's just it's not clicking. And this is the moment where Armin finally realizes, oh, you guys don't see me as a burden. You don't see me the way I see myself. I actually have. He realizes that they not only value him, but they trust him with their lives, and like that's a huge moment for him.
It's a very real moment, like you're saying, because this is a psychological strategy that a lot of people experience, where you project what you see your own image as. And a lot of times because of circumstances or because of some information that we get from, this source or that source, we have not a correct image of who we really are. And our feelings can tell us one thing, but they don't always tell us the truth. And so a lot of times you think, man, I'm just a burden, or I'm just a down person, or I'm the person who I don't add any value to this group. When in all actuality, that's really not how your friends see you at all. It's not how your family sees you. It's not how your wife or your husband or whatever it is sees you. They see you much differently. Yeah. And sometimes it's really important to go to your friends and to be like, hey, who do how do you see me? Like, what do I need to work on? But also, like, what are my strengths? What am I good at? And as good as it is to self-analyze, it's also sometimes really good to hear it from somebody else. And it's so good to hear especially from like somebody who's strong, you value their opinion, respect like Eren, to hear them validate you and be like, no man, I don't see you as a burden at all. I see you as a genius, and you help us out. You're the level head of our group, and you saved our lives, and Armin, just before this he was saying, I haven't earned the right to be thought of as their equal. Right. I'm afraid this is the last time that we're even going to be together. And really that wasn't true all along. Sometimes our feelings don't tell us the truth. And so it's important to get out of our head, out of our feelings, and go encounter the truth.
Yeah.
And see yourself through someone else's eyes instead of your own.
Yeah. And it's just as important on the other end of this little moment, this equation, that, being Eren, or in previous episodes being Marco, or being Connie, or being the person who looks at Armin or whoever it is, or Jean, and calls out the strength that you see in them, because that actually is what can kind of bring it out and bring it to the forefront. Like, very true. And so, Eren says that he's like, no, I trust you. You're smart and you have a little head, and so on and so forth. And that's actually what causes Armin to go, oh, that's how you see me. And then the revelation of who he is actually changes his behavior, actually changes both his thoughts and his behavior. And so that's when he starts to
gives him strength to stand up and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, Eren says, Armin, I trust you. And I rest this very important decision with all of our lives on the stake with you, because I know I trust
you're
you
going
to be able to do
the right decision.
And Armin's like, listen, I trust these two, Mikasa and Eren, more than anything in the world. Like, I would do anything for them, and if they believe in me, then I will go and do it.
His countenance changed. His eyes are like dark. He's like, Eren, don't get. Eren Mikasa,
he says, don't show any aggression.
Don't be any aggressive.
Like, stay chill.
This. Yeah.
So he goes to march on out there
to save them.
We got our little character arc starting to really form, and good, great writing, great development.
Which, they give you hints that Armin has that in him, because like even that memory he has of falling behind, and someone takes his pack, like he takes it back and he's like, no, I'm gonna keep up with you guys. Like he's got some stuff in him.
He's got some grit. Yeah.
So he jumps out there, gets through the smoke. They like pull their guns on Armin, and they're
and he drops all of his.
Yeah, on his way again.
All his
being
weapons.
Smart like he is, he's like, okay, appear non-aggressive. So he drops his ODM gear, his swords, like all of his stuff.
Yeah.
He goes out there, comes out there like hands up basically, and they're all freaked out. Mr. Scaredy Pants, coward guy is like,
everybody get ready.
Yeah, get ready to shoot. We're gonna kill you all.
Unarmed Armin to stand.
Yeah. So he threatens them. He's like, we're gonna shoot you. And is this your true form? You're a Titan now. And he's just not making any sense.
He's completely hysterical.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this Scaredy Pants guy has gone back and forth. Like initially in the very beginning, he told him to shoot him with the cannon, right? Then right after that, there's smoke, things are happening. Then he's like, okay, wait, it might not be safe. And like his fear is causing him not to like shoot more,
Yeah,
right?
he's very indecisive and wishy-washy.
Yeah, he's the opposite of a good leader, right?
Why is he in charge? Somebody needs to explain that to me. Like, I do not like him.
Indicative of real life. Again, just like it would be in any organization. In this case, it's the military. You have your Pyxises, you have your greats, you have your Levi, your Eren, your Mikasa. You have those. And you also have this guy, and you have the sleazy interior rich dude,
Lord
and you have
Wall,
the Lord Wall.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you have them all. They're all there. And what's interesting, and I love the nuance of this. I love how complicated this makes this show because that's how complicated real life is. They're all actually technically on the same team, which is the side of humanity.
Yeah.
True.
They're all
that's true. Yeah.
In theory, at least, going after the same goal, and it is better to remain unified. It is better to figure out a way to compromise and to work together as a unit with all of humanity, with the military as one, than it is to be like, all right, well, we're just going to break off and all that. Then to be infighting within themselves and be killing each other,
of lone wolves with
and
their own
being
agenda.
killed by the Titans. So the common enemy sort of unites them. And like I said, that's how real life actually is, and that's how the show actually is. You have goods and bads. You got to figure it out.
Yeah,
you got to compromise a little bit. Anyway, so Armin's plan is to compromise essentially and go out there and tell them. He says, hey, listen, he tells them what Eren just said. Like, Eren, if he does this, like, he comes out with a salute.
No, that's at the end.
Throws his hands up and he basically says, like, hey, like, let's talk this out for a minute. And they're having this banter back and forth. Mm-hmm. Armin's saying, we're not a threat to humanity, I swear.
He points out that the other Titans see Eren as their enemy too.
After they...
And hundreds of other soldiers witnessed
Eren. Everybody kind of lets their guard down, but then...
Yeah, they kind of go back and forth. It starts off with Scaredy Pants saying, we don't know that. You could be a Titan, you could be lying. Let's shoot him, And that's kind of when things raise up. And then he says, give me proof. Prove it that you're not a threat to humanity. And then, Armin's like... head is racing.
He's like, I don't have to prove anything.
And he realizes, wait a second. All of these soldiers, hundreds of soldiers, witness Eren attacking Titans. So if that doesn't tell you what you want to tell you,
tearing them apart.
And then on the flip side, all the Titans
drawn to him.
They see Eren just like they see humans as prey, which means that he sees us as the enemy and we see him as the enemy, or we see them as the enemy and they see us as the enemy, which means that Eren's on our side.
Right. Yeah. So the dude's like, I refuse to be deceived. He's cutting lies.
All the soldiers around him, though, they're like, oh, that's right. We did see that. He's right. And he hears them starting to realize, oh, this makes sense. Maybe he really is on our side.
Yeah, this kid's pretty smart. He makes a good argument.
Yeah, he makes sense.
And
it seems like even to him, he's like, okay, maybe that makes a little bit of sense. But then he lets his fear get the better of his logic. And he turns off his brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this show could almost be totally described by the phrase "cooler heads prevail," because pretty much that's just a masterclass in that happening at each point in the show. So Scaredy Pants dude, Mr. Worm is like, I'm not going to be persuaded.
That makes sense, but I'm going to shoot you anyway.
I'm going to shoot you anyway because I think this is the best way.
Deceive you.
And he tells the other soldiers,
the enemy.
These are cunning lies, and we're going to do it. And so he goes to raise his hand to like shoot him or whatever. Yeah. And Armin looks back at
he's like,
Eren and Mikasa.
It's hopeless.
And they look at him, and Eren's face is just like confidence. He's like,
I believe in you,
I got this, bro.
Keep going.
Yeah. You got this.
You're on the right track here.
He's the internet kid, just giving you the thumbs up and the nod, like, you got this, bro.
So then,
just when you think Armin can't scream anymore loudly, he screams, I am a soldier, and I pledge to be a loyal soldier. And he does the salute, and he like screams, and his squeezes his eyes closed and.
Yeah, nothing could make me prouder than to die for humanity. And if this is how I do it, like I'm dying as a soldier, which is only something a soldier would say.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. He says, if this is my last moment, then this is a noble way to die because I'm dying in the cause of trying to save humanity. And he makes the argument one last time. He says, if we have Eren's Eren's powers, Eren's Titan powers, plus, in addition to the manpower that we already have, like we might have a chance to actually win. So he actually makes that argument again.
Yeah.
And again, you can see the other soldiers that are standing around with their guns drawn.
Like,
wait, that's actually a good
I want
point.
to save humanity. What?
Yeah. So,
but of course, Captain Scaredy Pants once again.
He says we could do it for humanity's glory, and that's when Captain Scary Pants pulls the gun and says, I can't trust him. Head no worky, shooty.
So he drops his hand. He says, I won't be swayed. And then Armin, doubles down on his salute. We cut to Mikasa reaching for her sword because she's ready to go, kill some kids.
She's going to cut someone.
And we see Eren raising his hand.
Getting ready to bite.
For a little snack.
Beard, which we've seen a couple times before. Which we are fairly certain that is part of his Titan transforming thing.
That seems to be how he initiated the last time anyway, because
And right at the heat of the moment,
Captain Scary Pants raises his hand,
and it's grabbed by the Cooler Heads Prevail guy.
Pyxis.
And then he says, "You really need to do something about your nervous condition, Captain. Whatever the heck his name is."
It's Wormer.
We're just going to call him Worm Scared Pants.
Can't you see this soldier's heartfelt salute?
Yes.
Get him, Pyxis, bro. Come on,
and
Pyxis.
then they show Armin, and he's just squeezing his eyes.
It's just a beautiful moment.
He's practically crying.
And it takes us back to it for a second then where basically they say, chill out. We can at least hear these guys out.
Yeah.
Pyxis takes the trio. They go up on top of the wall, and they have kind of a little mini session where they're talking it out.
First, he tells Captain Crapface to go take a break. He's like,
go
reinforce
the reinforcements,
go take inventory, basically.
He's like, I'm in charge here. You're making a bad choice. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take command of the situation. So,
is this where they cut to the lady explaining?
Yes, this is where they cut to the narrator. And I don't
think it's an error. I think it's Armin's voice.
Really?
I think it's Armin's voice.
We looked this up. I thought we settled this already. That it was it's the lady who does Mikasa's voice.
I know it sounds like a woman to me,
and it is a woman. I'm pretty sure.
Definitely a woman.
We'll find. I mean, it's very likely a woman who does Armin's voice anyway. But regardless,
yeah, it's true.
Okay, so they cut to this. These cut. Okay, these scenes where it's not the characters and the dialogue happening are some of the best. And I'm trying to if you're a first timer or even if you're watching this through again, you should take these scenes and pause them and think about them and try and wrap your head around it because it's actually incredibly helpful to understand sort of the geography of what's happening in the show, the strategy, the sort of big picture stuff, because it helps clear things up as the characters talk about it. If you sort of have that map in your head, it'd be I don't know, if I'm talking about, World War II and I say, on the beaches in Normandy. Well, it's helpful if you know
where Normandy
that Normandy is in France. And it's helpful if you kind of know where it looks like, and that the reason they're going to France is because France is is occupied by the German army, and they have a beachhead there, and if they can confront them there, if you understand the geography of World War II, the story of World War II makes a lot more sense. So anyway, just word of advice. So we cut to a quick scene where they explain that 5 years ago, before any walls were broken, that the scouts were out scouting, doing scout stuff, and we're basically thinking that there was going to be an attack. They had reason to believe there's going to be an attack happening on humanity from the south side of the wall, and this outer wall is called Wall Maria. And so that is where the attack happened. Shiganshina is what falls first, and then the
Trost.
gate, and then Shiganshina is where Eren's from. That's where the first attack is. So they break the alcove wall.
Yeah, what they predicted is what happened.
Mm-hmm. And then they break the actual inner wall, and then the Titans flood in, and then all of Wall Maria now becomes Titan territory. And so,
and then she
5 years later
explains that they
surmised
surmised that the second attack would happen exactly where it happens.
Yeah. So the scouts are not useless. They're not going out and dying for nothing. They are getting some useful information. And
they know something.
Mm-hmm. And remember, I think it's 2 episodes ago where we saw... No, it was last episode. 2 episodes ago. Where we see Captain Levi, Erwin, and Hanji. Mm-hmm. And these are kind of commander. These are higher ups in the scouts. And they are gone when Trost gets attacked. They're actually out scouting, out trying to figure stuff out. And so they're anyway. So, let's see here. want to make sure I get all the details in there.
Well, and then that's also when the Erwin says Titans are swarming in this direction. It means this is happening. It means that the wall has been attacked. They're probably already inside.
And they expect that
they know where to go already.
The armored Titan and the Colossus Titan will
are
show
already
up,
there,
which they do.
Yeah, and so they again,
rush back.
The geography is like big outer wall with little alcoves on it, a big inner wall, and then finally like a third like interior wall. So it's Maria, Rose, and Cena. And so the alcoves are there for basically to be Titan bait. And anyway,
did we already say that? That tells us that Pyxis is in command of the whole southern region.
That's the next point that she makes. Yeah. So they Trost is the next target, and then it says the south side of Wall Rose was going to be broken, in which it did, and then it tells us Pyxis is the man in charge of the entire southern region of what I guess the military, the whole deal. It sounds like
I'd imagine that
he's in charge of the defense too.
Because
so it's defensive Trost.
You don't need to be in charge of if you're part of the southern region. That has nothing to do with the scouts because scouts are going to go outside the region, right?
Right.
And the interior police are only for the interior, so it has to be the garrison anyways.
So
but
he's had a garrison like southern district.
He's powerful.
He's in charge of a lot of stuff. That's very important.
And he's specifically in charge of the two places that have been attacked, which means that he had to be the one whose butt was on the line for getting ready and getting prepared and having a counterattack and all this stuff. So he's really interested in what Armin had to say.
Plan.
Yeah. So they kind of also say that, the narrator tells us that he's an eccentric guy. We cut to one of that woman who was telling Scary Pants to back down the whole time. Or not back down, but she was the...
Oh, yeah. He's like, why is he even talking to them alone up on the wall?
And she's like, well, his ways are not traditional. Like, he's kind of an unusual guy, which...
But he gets stuff done.
But he gets stuff done. But he knows what he's doing. There's a reason he's the commander.
Is that when they cut to him looking over the wall at the Titans and he says that weird line?
Yeah, what does he say to him? He's like,
it would definitely be horrible to get eaten by one of those guys, but maybe not so bad if you get eaten by a sexy lady Titan. And you're like... And then he takes a swig from his flask. Like, what? What's going on in this guy's head?
The sexy lady
Is he slightly crazy?
He's commenting on the obvious, though. We're all thinking it, which is that some of these Titans look like women, some of them look like men, even though they're all essentially genderless.
Yeah.
They do seem to have male and
features.
Feminine features.
But they're
sorts.
all kind of
and then there's the weird ones that you can't really tell at all.
Yeah, normals, yeah.
Sort of what makes them
like
scary.
Like the smiley clown one.
But because he's in command of the southern region, we know that he's really interested in what Armin had to say. And he says, Armin, like, that whole bit where you were saying that with Eren's help we could save humanity? Was that something you actually believed, or were you just kind of like save your butt, Yeah.
So basically,
do you have a plan?
We get the impression here, it makes it pretty clear that Eren and the gang have just explained everything that they know up to this point.
Which is not much.
It's not a whole lot, but Eren believes he has his power, so on and so forth. They've explained that to Pyxis, and so that's when the commander is. When
Pyxis they kind of cut
like,
into him holding the key and like telling him about the basement, and he's like, there's no way to prove any of that.
Yeah, I can't validate all of your claims right now, but Armin, you were saying...
and then he goes, I'll make sure to keep it cataloged in here.
Yeah.
And then he turns to Armin.
Takes a swig on
his
flask.
He's like, sounds like maybe you had a plan.
Yeah, he says, basically, did you believe that, or are you trying to like save your guys' butt? And Armin's like, respectfully, sir, both, because I was trying to save our butts. And it was all I could come up with in a moment's notice, but I actually think that, it might work because there's this giant boulder that we didn't have the scaffolding to be able to lift. And they mentioned this before.
Yep.
Armin's
4 episodes back.
Armin has been thinking about that boulder for a while.
Yeah. And as soon as he sees Eren, something in the back of his head was like,
clicks.
Hey, you guys remember that boulder?
Remember that giant rock?
I wonder if that Eren Titan guy could lift that boulder and go plug that hole that Titan just kicked, and we could save instead of having to abandon and evacuate this whole area.
Yeah.
Which would be huge.
We could take back this territory for humanity, and for the first time, take something back.
Yeah, what
that's
in the world?
Been taken away from us by Titans. Like, seriously.
Yeah, a hope. He's trying to have hope.
That would be such a huge thing.
And so, so they say, well, okay, that is a plan to save your butt, but also, that could work. And he turns to Eren and he says, yeah, Eren, like, do you think you could lift that boulder? Now, we know that Eren doesn't know the extent of his powers, doesn't really know how well to use his powers.
How to control himself.
He's not even really super conscious while he's in the Titan form.
He was literally conscious for like a second, and then he pulled himself out.
And every time he's like, well, what happened? Like, he kind of forgets a little bit what happened.
And so Titan amnesia.
Yeah, he's like woozy.
sure enough, Eren says like, yeah, I really can't promise you anything.
Yeah,
boss.
he says it feels irresponsible to give you an answer because I don't
actually know what I can do or what I can't
honest.
do, which is really great that he's honest.
And then Pyxis recognizes, oh, I'm sorry, I asked you the wrong question. Are you willing to try?
Are you willing, cadet?
Are you willing? Because that's really all that matters is like someone's going to try to give their life to do what's right, to do the thing
Which
to save
I think
humanity.
is amazing. It proves what a strategic thinker Pyxis is too, because he's showing that he already understood before he asked him anything that we don't really know what we're doing.
Yeah, he knows the heart of Eren, the soldier, almost immediately.
Yeah.
He like basically talks to him for 5 minutes. Like, I know your type. Like,
He
you're
like
committed.
sees the big picture and realizes pretty quickly he's asked the wrong question. And knowing that he's asked the wrong question, you realize he already knows this might not work. This could go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Like, but it's better than not trying.
Yeah, and then but he asks him, "Are you willing?" And then we cut to a really cool shot where Eren looks back at the walls behind him, the not yet attacked, like not yet Titan infested humanity, and it's kind of beautiful. And there's these quaint little houses, and then it
like
zooms out, and we get this sort of bird's eye, almost like space level view of the various layers of the walls and everything like behind him, and he's like, he has this moment. He knows,
realize
this is what I'm fighting for.
We can take things back from these people.
Yeah, and so he says, "I'll do it. I will do it. I will seal the wall.
I will try.
I'm going to make this happen."
And because it's not, like you said, it's fighting for humanity, it's protecting what's precious, but it's also retaking something. And if you get a victory,
Out of the jaws of defeat.
Which that will be the first time that
They'll have
they've
any
ever
victory.
had any kind of victory against Titans.
now with Eren on their side, right?
Yeah.
They had a little taste of it as they were able to escape with their lives from the Watchtower. Now maybe they could have a serious victory.
They used him and his Titan form to beat the other Titan so they could get to the
And before they had
where the gas was.
If they can't do this, they're gonna have to. And if Eren wasn't there, they'd have to retreat anyways, right?
Yeah.
Which means they have to secede another section of the area where it puts them one more section away from the basement they need to get to.
Yeah.
So if they can take back this wall,
It's one step closer.
one step closer to getting to that basement.
Plus,
I'm
it
about
would
to break.
concentrate humanity even more than it already was, which
Well,
would make them an
famine.
easier
They're
trying to
target than
take
they
back-
already were. And
They're trying to take back Trost specifically. Trost is an alcove. So Wall Rose hasn't actually been compromised yet, which is an interesting question to ask. Because to this point, the Colossal Titan showed back up and punched a hole in the alcove wall. But the Armor Titan did not show up like he did the first time and punch
Not
a hole in
yet.
the inner wall. Not yet.
But
we
they're waiting
expect
for
him
it.
to
We're
do
waiting
it
for it.
Any
We're
second.
thinking it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that.
So then Eren, agrees to do it, and that's
that's
to
the
be
end of the
continued.
episode. Yeah, to be continued.
Dot, dot,
So, again, binge-worthy show, especially this section here of like what's going on. Eren becoming Titan. This episode, the previous one, the next one, they all make very much a lot of sense when they come together.
Yeah.
Really, it's the whole show. But anyway, okay. So email us
Beyond the
Basement Podcast at gmail.com. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you go do that. Go search us on YouTube, Beyond the Basement. We're there. You can leave comments. We'll get back to you there. Same thing with the Facebook page. We are live on Sunday nights. As of right now, we may fiddle with that, but we'll make announcements about that. The whole plan of being live is that when season 4 finally starts to air, hopefully it comes out this fall. Hopefully coronavirus has not ruined everything, and that the animators are still hard at work.
Just put on the
whoever-
hazmat suits and go
Listen,
draw, bro.
you can draw in your house. Okay?
Hopefully, they can work from home and they can still get us season 4 before 2022 at
before
least.
the end of the world.
So that's the plan, is to be live right when those episodes air. So that's why we're doing Sunday nights. But anyway, yeah, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, all the places. If you're really liking the show, go leave us a review. Go leave us a 5-star review. That would be incredibly helpful.
Please, thank you.
And we're about to get into some spoilers. So I would suggest you
Spoiler alert.
if you don't want to be spoiled, if you do not want to be a rotten egg,
Yeah, you cannot have your dessert before your dinner. It'd spoil your
I do
dinner.
it all the time.
pause this show.
How dare you?
Take your phone, remove it from your purse or your car dashboard or whatever the heck. Hit the button that looks like the two lines next to each other. That's called the pause button, because we're about to rock your world with some spoiler action. In 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's go back to the beginning
the
here.
very first thing that we all noticed.
What's the very first thing?
Where they freak out.
Yeah. Because it all means something.
Can we
different.
mourn Marco one more time for just a second? Because Marco's such a good guy.
Literally, every time I hear his name, I feel like a twinge of pain in my heart, and I'm like, yeah, I know it's coming.
Your sweet freckles were too kind for this world,
cry.
Marco.
He was like doing good by trying to comfort this guy and trying to comfort Sasha, and like he's a goner, man. He is a goner.
His days are numbered.
And it sucks when he dies, but when you find out how he dies,
it's even worse.
Those
so
jerks are responsible for his death. It's very, very bitter.
Burns.
Okay, Green Flash. I mentioned this before.
Spoiler.
The Green Flash. Mikasa has the Green Flash, or some kind of green moment. What is there a connection, or am I just sort of seeing something that's not there?
Does Levi ever have one of the green moments?
No,
I don't know.
He asked her, "Is there a time in your childhood where you felt a sudden strength awaken in you?"
Yeah, he
Levi
does.
asked Mikasa.
He does ask her
or
that.
can he ask Levi?
I think Kennedy,
somebody asked
one of the
that.
Ackermans asked the other Ackerman, "Does that happen?" And they say, "Yeah." And
I'm
like,
looking for the
okay,
connection
there's something there. Ben.
I'm also just looking for the
Well, there's also the fact that the founding Titan powers don't affect them,
yes.
Yeah.
and they can't be changed.
Anyway, beyond that, the more obvious thing is Reiner, Annie.
It zooms in on their faces and then John.
I've been thinking about this. Bertolt's not there, is he?
He's in the back.
He is?
They do flash on his face for a second.
So he found his way back in the madness.
In the chaos. Same thing he did the first time.
Because he ends up on the roof with them. It's the four of them.
Scumbag as he is.
Dang.
Tall.
Which they're almost trying to make you think that Jean is like one of them, but he's not.
Yeah.
But
you don't even really think that thought.
No.
I
know. I know.
We were talking about this before. Like, when was it during the series that each of us sort of started to put the pieces together that specifically the Titan shifters were all people that had the same kind of power to shift back and forth? It certainly took me a minute to realize that was everybody.
The idea was out there, but nothing was codified in my mind yet.
Right.
Agreed. I
Agreed.
definitely was surprised by Bertolt and Reiner. I think just because specifically I wanted one of them to not be
Yeah, they're awesome.
a horrible person. I wasn't surprised by Annie though.
I didn't know it was
That didn't
them. Yeah,
surprise
the
me.
Annie thing made sense. I didn't know it was them.
As soon as we see the female Titan shifter, as soon as we see the female Titan,
Well, the fact
I was
that
like,
when she fights, I was like, wait,
it's her.
We know.
I recognize that
this,
move. Yeah.
Yeah, so during the scene when the flash happens, Reiner, Bertolt, and Annie are terrified.
They're freaking out.
And
The thing is, they already know.
Especially Reiner. Is it Reiner?
Eren has this ability.
Reiner, yeah.
But we don't. But see, okay, so they know a lot, right? They know a lot, and aren't saying it. They do know that Eren is a Titan shifter. They
just realized last episode, but
I'm assuming they even know that he has the attack Titan. They know which Titan power he has. They might.
They probably know he's the attack Titan because he is attacking the crap out of all the other Titans.
They don't know he's the coordinate.
I don't think they 100% know that the Owl Titan is in. I think they suspect, but I don't think anybody knows.
But they know there's only 9 powers, right? They know what most of them are back in Marley, and that some of them are somewhere inside the walls here.
All they know for sure is the coordinate founding Titan power is in the walls, and they probably suspect that the attack
Ymir's Titan power because remember their friend got eaten on the way in.
Yeah, Ymir's.
They don't necessarily know that Titan shifter is inside the walls, but they know it's out there.
Yeah, we don't know how well you can recognize a Titan by its power.
That's not clear yet. Yeah,
but what we do know is that they're aware there's several Titan powers that could be within the walls. And they're keeping an eye out. That's their goal, is to destroy humanity and to find the Titan shifters. And while this is happening, they realize that Eren's got one of those powers. They don't immediately take him away because a bunch of people are there.
Yep.
So they jump over the wall. They hear that flash again. And my theory is that they think that there's another Titan shifter that came from outside the walls, be it the Beast Titan, be it the Commander.
They definitely were scared.
They were like,
especially Reiner's face, like he's losing his crap.
Yeah, he's like, what in the
Even
world?
Annie
Isn't he
is
the
like,
one that actually says, is that Titan vapor? I'm not sure if it's him or not.
Somebody does.
No, I think
they're
John
all freaked
says
out,
that.
and they immediately go and we thought they're like, oh, they're gonna go check on their friends. No, they're gonna be like, are we in trouble? Did we screw the pooch here? Like, are we getting destroyed, or are we going to war right now? And they jump up. Reiner's the first one, way ahead of everybody else.
He is, and then
he's gotta
the
see
other
what's
3
happening
are right behind him
to be able to tell his buddies, like, oh yeah, we're gonna fight everybody right now, or
right.
oh no, we're good.
Yeah, relax,
or whatever.
relax.
So then John's like, oh yeah, we should go check on him, and they're like, yeah, John, that's why we were up here to check on them.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking too. So the next kind of spoiler part, I think, is maybe it's not so much of a spoiler, but something I want to mention here is that the key. So Eren pulls the key out. All this stuff blew by me the first time through this series. Mm-hmm. The fact that he re-pulls the key out, he says, "My dad made me the way I am," or is responsible for the way that I am.
For what has happened to me, meaning he knows he's changed.
He said, "I understand everything if I get back to the basement." Like, I was just missing, like, it was happening in front of me, but I was missing the importance of it.
Yeah.
While I was watching this, really good to go back through and watch this a second time and go, okay, it makes so much more sense now. They even show Grisha with the syringe, which we later find out, is the spinal fluid from the Titan. Like,
he gives it to Eren, he turns him Titan, and then
which was the thing that with Ymir's story that I was like, okay, there is some kind of serum that turns people into Titans.
You caught on to that.
And you guys were arguing with me, and you're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, because Eren's dad did something with the syringe, remember?
I was thinking there was multiple ways to become a Titan.
I think
you
so,
had
too.
actually caught on to the detail that it was like the syringe.
Yeah.
I was thinking like that there was like more, that it was... There was more to it than just like there was one. Like, I was even thinking there was multiple other civilizations. My whole theory, most of the show was that there was other civilizations outside the walls. That Titans were a military technology, and I thought that there may be even multiple other. Yeah.
And we thought that there could be something similar to that. We still don't even really know, but we know for sure a lot of what we've understood is comprised by the Marleyans and the Eldians.
Let's see here.
What about Eren wondering where the hell his dad is?
He says, I might just find the truth behind the
like,
Titans.
Yeah.
Sorry, to the basement, because he says, like, he's responsible for what I become. If I go to the cellar, I might find out the truth about the Titans.
He says his dad said that the truth about the Titans was in the cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means his dad told him that, basement. And he didn't remember that up until just now. Like, up until just recently, which we kind of know from the last episode. Him. Yeah, the memories are starting to guide him. The fact that, like, not because... What he would remember from his normal human self would just be, hey, I have something in the cellar I'm going to show you when I get back. Mm-hmm. But his dad told him a bunch of details that he's starting to recollect here. Yes.
But we also know that he's recollecting previous Titans' memories as well. Because how would he know how to bite his hand? No one taught him that. No one told him that. Only through the memories and trusting in those powers.
His instinct is to just do that.
Because of the owl and because of the founding Titan, all those people, they knew what to do.
Yeah. And so then we get to the part where he's like, wait, A, why did he hide this? And B, where the hell is he?
Yeah.
Two very good questions.
Yeah, he's like, where has he been? Why has he left us on our own for 5 years? And I had a moment of like, oh, he doesn't even know he ate his own dad.
Yeah, so where the hell is he? Well, we know the answer to that. Eren, you ate your dad, okay? But he volunteered, for the record. He volunteered.
I also think of Grisha crying like the whole time he's talking to Eren.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we kind of put together when we were talking was we all know now, because we've gone all the way through, that there's a time limit on how long you can be alive after you get turned into a Titan shifter. And it's 13 years. So all the stuff that Grisha did, from going into the walls, meeting a woman, getting married, having a child, becoming a doctor, getting all the way into the interior, he did all of that before 13 years.
Within 13 years.
And he was probably getting close to the end. So I think that when he went into the interior to get the founding Titan power, his plan was to bring it back to Eren. And while he was there, this attack happened, which is why they cut to him. Is it in the second episode? And he's crying and he's saying, "Please be alive, please be alive."
Yeah, please be alive. Yeah, I think the master plan here. We were talking about this. I think you're right. I think the master plan for Grisha was there's a couple of reasons. So,
what if he was going back to his wife and not Eren? That just occurred to me like right now.
He's going back to Carla.
What if his plan was to turn his... Because she could be turned into a Titan shifter too. What if she knew everything? What if he was going back to turn his wife into a Titan shifter and then...
It's a good question.
And then
really don't get much
he was
detail
hoping
about her.
she was alive, but because she died, that's why she tells Mikasa, you have to keep Eren alive. Because...
It's possible.
Perchance.
I don't know. That literally just occurred to me.
My guess is that... So Eren asked a really good question here, which is, okay, well, why did he hide it?
Yeah.
Why did he not tell me? Like, why didn't he just come out and say this? Why didn't he just come into the walls and be like, hey, everybody, so there's all this stuff outside the walls and these people who hate you and they're going to get attacked and the Titan shifting power and blah, blah, blah. Like, why didn't he just come out and, like, tell everyone that? And so we're kind of coming up with various theories, but I think you mentioned this first. It occurred to us that perhaps one of the reasons that Grisha does not just come out with this right away, perhaps it is, A, he actually doesn't just have. He has future memories to go off of. He knows that there is
right.
a
because there's that weird,
and that there's an Armin, right? And he knows he kind of has some instructions from the owl. He says, "Settle down." The owl actually tells him, "Remarry, like settle down, like have a life there. That's going to keep you like stable. It's like going to mentally like keep you like
from
there."
losing it.
So, all right. So he has the advice. He also has these future memories, so sort of prophecies to work with. But I think the night that he leaves to go to the interior, we don't still know specifically where that is. I don't think, but he goes to interrupt the ceremony where the founding Titan power is going to be transferred to one of the
royal family
Rice sisters. He goes and interrupts that, steals the founding Titan power. I think his plan was to go steal the founding Titan power and come back to Eren, because somehow he figures out the founding Titan power is here, and he knows the founding Titan power is to erase memories. So if he tells everybody all the stuff, the memories just get erased, which is basically what has already happened. That's pretty much what we know at this point.
For a long time.
That is the reason nobody knows how the walls got there is because their memories got freaking wiped anyway.
So if he was just, as soon as he got there, say, "Hey everybody, I'm from outside the walls," and let's just tell you, they would just, whoever's in the interior, whoever's running the shady stuff, or whatever, wiped everybody's memories, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Not only that, but we also know that it's already from Armin's experience, it's taboo, yay, illegal perhaps, to talk about what's outside the walls. Yeah. You're really not supposed to be doing that.
It's illegal.
So he's abiding by this. Trouble. He knows that the founding Titan power could erase everybody's memories anyway, and I think his plan is to go. He locates the founding Titan power. He's going to go find the power, take it for himself, come back to Eren, reveal to him what's in the basement, and tell him, "I'm at the end of my time. I end of my 13 years. I need you to take this power now, and I have, here's what the powers, and here's what I need you to go do with it." And so that's the idea: is formulate a new plan to kind of liberate.
Unfortunately, during that happens, the walls get kicked
in.
Yep, and that is the moment where it all gets screwed because the walls get kicked in.
That's the other reason I was thinking maybe he was going to give it to his wife, because she was already an adult. Eren was still a child, so if she got the power, she would be alive for 13 years, and then Eren would have a chance to become a man and not a little boy. Because giving that power to a little boy is kind of cruel. Because now you only have 13 years to live, and you're like, 8 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old.
I think when he
But everything got screwed up when things got attacked.
But also, I think when he saw the determination in Eren's eyes, but he wants to get outside the walls, that's when he was like, "I'm going to tell my son." And I think that's might have when he said, "I have to give him the power." You know?
Yeah.
And the other thing we learn here, or that Eren actually says explicitly, is like, 5 years ago, Eren has had the Titan power for 5 years. He does say this to himself later on, I think in season 3, where he's like, I've been, I have 7 years left or something.
Yeah,
he'd
been at that point when he realizes that he's been a Titan for 6 years.
But I think there's a worthy debate there. Is it 13 years from the point at which you're given the power? Or is it 13 years from the point at which you first transform?
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
We know that it takes a toll on your body. We know that by...
Eren's bleeding and he gets sickly.
His bloody nose, his white pale face, and as he's going on, remember when he's trying
he's
wall
getting
trials,
weaker and weaker.
It's like really hurting him. But also think about how quickly the old founding Titans, who Kenny was his like caretaker, how quickly he died.
Yeah, he decayed really fast.
And he decayed super fast, and it was really hard on him. So we know it really takes a toll on your body. So I think the best information to go off of right now is we think that it's from when you receive the Titan power, but I think it certainly accelerates the toll on your body every time you transform.
Yeah. Maybe that's the whole point. 13 years is all that you can, all that the
is
body
all that
can
your
handle.
body can handle.
Yeah. Could be.
You start internally bleeding and stuff.
I was also
probably
thinking about, would that reset if you got another Titan power, or is it just from the original?
Good question. And does Eren actually have 26 years? Because he has two Titan powers.
Yeah, I guess if that was the case, then Grisha wouldn't have had to worry about time anymore because he just got another Titan power.
Oh, good point.
But what happens when you combine all 7 Titan powers, all 9 Titan powers?
Yeah.
You get Ymir again?
You get something.
So you get
I don't know. We don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so last little spoiler I think was when they cut to we knew the attack was going to come from the south. I mentioned this. I was like, of course it was going to come from the south. The island is north of. Paradise is north of Marley. Like meaning that the majority of the Titans,
they're dropping off.
Well, all the Titans are actually coming from all the dumb Titans that are wandering around are all coming from the same spot. They're all coming from the
south.
same, which is south of
they're
the walls.
They're ejecting people and shoving them off the same wall.
And they've been doing this for years. So the Titans are probably going to be more congregated down there at the bottom. there's going to be more of like a mass of them, and I'm sure they wander around and eventually find their
And
way.
of course, they're all attracted to the same area because they're attracted to humans because they're trying to find a Titan shifter.
So the scouts going out and seeing like a mass of Titans, I kind of wonder, I do wonder, what if the scouts go south? And they've done this before, and they're like, wow, there's an unusual number of Titans. What if, in planning the attack, Reiner and the gang, so on and so forth, they took an extra load of prisoners and freaking made a bunch of extra Titans just to be sure that there was a mass that wanted to infiltrate and mess the walls up.
That would be a good strategy.
Yeah. I'm still curious about, we can get this later, but how the Beast Titan made so many Titans so quickly.
Yeah, me too.
It's almost like he
has some kind of weird, maybe that's part of his power. I don't know.
Well, he had a little cart.
He turned in Connie's whole village overnight.
You would think,
and they all changed. It seems like they all changed at the same time.
Yeah, you'd think as soon as one person explodes through the house, people would be like, "Huh, something's going on." I'm just gonna go back to sleep.
Well, yeah, the Beast Titan has unusual
even Connie's
powers,
mom, she's like trapped in the house.
He can tell them what to do
to some extent because he's got a little bit of that royal blood.
Apparently. Okay, well, I think that probably does it.
That's right.
Spoiler moments we need to get to. Hear anything about Pyxis or something that we should get into? I don't think there's anything super juicy.
No, but I will say this on only our Facebook stream.
What?
Well, we got to end our podcast before.
Okay, all right.
Facebook. He's got something to say.
I got something to say.
Okay.
Only for the Facebook Live people.
Okay, for the Facebooker lives.
Well, that does it. The Facebook Livers. Anyway, that does it for the episode. It's episode 10 of Beyond the Basement. Again, you can email us, beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com with questions, concerns,
memes, comments,
whatever. Hit us up on Facebook
not
DMs.
Meme comments. No, I'm just
we
kidding.
Do not have an Instagram page. Twitter is trash. Don't go there, guys. Twitter's bad for your health. YouTube, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And then Patreon, which I assume right now no one's got money to spare. But if you do, we got cool stuff for y'all on Patreon.
If you're at home and you got a fat tax return, you got plenty of TP.
Dude, you're getting your $1,200 check from the government.
And you're thinking, hey, while I'm at home, I want to listen to cool content. I want to make people be able to produce something cool for me. You can kick some people, some money. We don't need it the most as far as others do.
Yeah.
It is definitely a more serious
more
thing
charitable
going on.
causes out there. But if you like this and you want more of this,
if you just have extra money lying around the house, like you can totally send it our way.
Cough it up.
We will put good use to it.
Yeah, no, we'll do something really cool with it. We promise.
All right, guys. We love y'all. We'll see you in the next episode. We'll do a little clink to end it. See you later. Thanks again for watching and listening. If you're enjoying the show, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. If you're really loving it and you want some extra cool content, you can join our Patreon page over at patreon.com/beyondthebasementpodcast. Check the show notes or our social media pages for links to some really rad Attack on Titan merch. All right, guys. See you next time.